Chapter 11 review is on properties of the hair and scalp. Hairstylists play an important role in many people's lives. All hair services must be based on a thorough understanding of the growth, structure, and composition of hair. Trichology is the scientific study of hair, its diseases, and its care. Hair root is the part of the hair that is located below the surface of the epidermis, which is the outer layer of the skin. The hair shaft is the portion of the hair that projects above the epidermis. Structures of the hair root include the hair follicle, where distribution and growth takes place, the hair bulb, the dermal papilla, the erector pili muscle, and the sebaceous glands. The structures of the hair shaft include the hair cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. Hair is approximately 90% protein, and the protein is made up of long chains of amino acids, which in turn are made up of elements. The major elements that make up human hair are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur, and are often referred to as the Cons elements. These 5 elements are also found in our skin and in our nail. With the Cons elements, carbon is 51%, oxygen is 21%, hydrogen 6%, nitrogen 17%, and sulfur 5%. Keratinization is a maturing process of living cells that originate within the hair follicle. All these newly formed cells mature, they fill up with a fibrous protein, and that protein is called keratin. We also have amino acids. These are linked together like pop beads. They are peptide or end bonds. They join together to form polypeptide chains and the helix. The side bonds of the cortex consist of hydrogen bonds, salt bonds, disulfide bonds, and lanthanide bonds. Our pigment is called melanin, eumelanin, and pheomelanin. Eumelanin is dark or black hair, and pheomelanin is yellow to red ginger hair. All natural hair color results in a ratio of the two, eumelanin and pheomelanin. Gray hair is the absence of melanin. Every person has a wave pattern. It's either straight hair, wavy hair, curly hair, or extremely curly hair. There are truths about hair growth and the types of hair that we have. Vellus hair is that short, fine, downy, unpigmented hair that's on the body. A lot of times when a baby is first born, it looks like peach fuzz. And then we have terminal hair. This is long, thick, pigmented hair found on our scalp, our legs, our arms, and our body. Hair also has growth cycles. We have anagen, catagen, and telogen. Anagen is the growing phase of hair, catagen is the transition phase, and then telogen is the resting phase. There are many myths and facts about the way hair grows. Some myths are things that you might have heard that are not true. Shaving, clipping, and cutting does not make your hair grow faster. Scalp massage does not increase growth, however, it increases the health. Gray hair is coarser and more resistant. Some gray hair is, but it's not necessarily always a fact. Natural curl is determined by race. That also is not completely true. Round cross-section is straight, oval cross-section is wavy, and flat cross-section is curly. The growth cycle provides for the continuous growth, the fall, and the replacement of individual hairs. Natural shedding is about 35 to 40 hairs a day. But there are emotional impacts that can cause us to have hair loss. A lot of times the perception of bald and balding men is that they look less attractive, less assertive, less successful, less personally likable, and that they look older by 5 years. Of course, we all know right now bald hair is in, So a lot of these things are not true of the younger male population, but are still true for the older male population. There are also emotional impacts. Men sometimes think it's a negative social and emotional effect, that they are preoccupied with the fact that they're going bald, and they make an effort to conceal it. But where balding for women is devastating, it can cause anxiety and feelings of helplessness and unattractiveness. There are different types of abnormal hair loss. Abnormal hair loss is called alopecia. The three most common types of abnormal hair loss are androgenetic alopecia, alopecia areata, and postpartum alopecia. Androgenetic alopecia is progressive shrinking of terminal hair and affects millions of men and women in the United States. Alopecia areata is sudden loss, and it's round or irregular patches. It affects about 5 million people in the United States. The immune system attacks the hair follicles. It begins with small bald patches and occurs in men and women of all ages and races. Then postpartum alopecia is temporary hair loss at the conclusion of pregnancy. The growth cycle returns to normal within 1 year after the delivery of a baby. There are two different types of hair loss treatments: minoxidil, which is a topical treatment, and finasteride, which is an oral treatment. You want to make sure that finasteride, that you know that it is only a product for men, it is an oral treatment, and that women should not touch the pill or anything because it has been known to cause birth defects. You need to be able to recognize disorders of the hair. These are things that you may come into contact with as you're doing a consultation and brushing and examining the scalp of your client. Kinetites are congenital kinetites and acquired kinetites. Ringed hair, hypertrichosis, trichoptilosis, trichohexis nodosa, millithrix, and fragilitis cranium. These are things that you need to make sure that you go back through and look at your key terms at the back of Chapter 11, study these and know what they are. Other disorders of the scalp are pityriasis, malacia, pityriasis captus simplex, pityriasis steatoides. We also have fungal infections: tinea, tinea captis, tinea vivosa. Parasitic infections that can attack are scabies, which are itch mites, and pedullosis captus, which is head lice. Bacterial infections that are important for you to know about are furnicles, carbuncles, and folliculitis. Perform a thorough hair and scalp analysis. When you're doing so, you're looking for diseases, disorders, fungal infections, parasitic infections, and bacterial infections. But you also are trying to determine the texture of the hair. Hair is either coarse, it's medium, or it's fine. With the density, low density means it's thin, medium means it's medium normal, high means it's very thick. The average person has 2,200 hairs in a square inch. Porosity of the hair is either low, average, or high, and this is the ability of the hair to absorb water. So this is vitally important for you to understand porosity, because it's how quick it's going to absorb color or anything according to the porosity. The ends of the hair are usually a lot more porous than the midshaft and at the scalp. Elasticity, normal elasticity, low elasticity, and how to test for elasticity. If you can take one strand of hair between your fingers and you can stretch it up to 50% and that hair does not break, then the elasticity is good. We have different types of growth patterns. We have hair stream, which the way the hair flows in the same direction. There are whorls, where hair is formed in a circular pattern up at the top of the head. And then, of course, we have cowlicks. These are tufts of hair that stand straight up. It is important to learn to work with a cowlick and not against a cowlick. Dry hair and scalp, the hair will look dull, dry, and lifeless. You want to avoid frequent shampooing, strong soaps, detergents, or products with a high alcohol content. This is a time where you can educate your client by asking them what types of shampoos they use at home and tell them how important it is for them to use the correct products. Oily hair and scalp uses normalizing shampoos. These need to eat a well-balanced diet, exercise, shampoo regularly and frequently, and practice good personal hygiene. Trichology enables the professional cosmetologist to better understand both the physical and the microscopic properties of the hair. You must be able to recognize those conditions of the hair and scalp that need treatment. You want to practice proper disinfection procedures that are approved by your oversight regulatory agency to help spread and prevent the spread of disease. It is important in this day and time, the new normal, while we've always been very, high on our disinfection procedures, now it is more important than ever. So go back, read your chapter, take your quizzes, and get yourself ready for your Chapter 11 assessment.